a black nationalist and I'm from the black liberation of all people, but I want singular ethno-states for all of the black diaspora. So you want to recreate tribalism, another oppressive structure, which will unlikely, because of our structure of race that already exists, it will beget a structure worse than racism? How does that lead to black liberation?
Aggi,
Yes.
do you want to go to the pharmacy? I have money.
My sister wants to go to the pharmacy in like 30 minutes. Close the door. What happened? Nothing happened. I'm just ranting because I'm mad. But I'm seeing this. Why do they hate multiculturalism? They don't hate multiculturalism. They hate a straw man of multiculturalism that they have projected onto multiculturalism. You literally cannot be a black liberationist and be anti-multiculturalism, and here is my reasoning. People who say they are against multiculturalism, they are literally just against the transfer of black culture to white people. Like, when you say that, like, when you say you are anti-multiculturalism, you are inherently being anti-black. Because, one, I'm sorry, AAs, not everything's about fucking you. There is not just black culture and white culture. There are thousands of black cultures within the black race. And we're all different ethnicities. So if you want a unified black people, hell, even if you want a unified black state, guess what? Cultural exchange between black people is required. You cannot be anti-multiculturalism and want a liberated black people, because black people, you guessed it, we're all around the world and we all have different cultures, and as us to become a unified people, our cultures must be voluntarily exchanged. If you're anti-multiculturalism, I want you to go to a country in Africa where multiple tribes live and tell them that they are living wrongly, even if they are living in symbiosis, because they are voluntarily exchanging culture. This is what I want you guys to understand, because this is what people conflate a ton, right? People think that multiculturalism is we stand for you and then you stand for us. Or people, it's reactionary. The straw man is reactionary because black people have been hurt time and time again by people they call allies. And like I said again, I said that this is like kind of something that is very, very inherent to the Americas. Because when we go to places like the Caribbean, we look at Fanon. Fanon worked with Palestinians for their liberation. He used their ideas. Fanon worked with Sartre. Fanon worked with the Jewish community for Jewish liberation. And in turn, they worked with the black community. And it worked. We look at things like that. It worked. So when you say these things, right, you need to understand that you are projecting your own ideals and your own hurt onto an ideology, and you are critiquing that projection. You are not critiquing the actual principle. Because when I say multiculturalism and you say I am anti-multiculturalism because white people are bad allies and they're culturally appropriating all our stuff, what I essentially said is, I said, do you like cats? And you said, well, I hate dogs. That doesn't answer my question. Like, I'm sorry, multiculturalism, and also, by the way, here's the kicker here. People have, especially Western leftists or Western black people in the Western diaspora, constantly say, well, multiculturalism destroyed our country and forced assimilation. Here's the kicker. Multiculturalism does not exist in the West, and it has not existed in the West. That would be like me stealing someone else's shit, putting it on, them being like, hey, can you give that the fuck back? I didn't give that to you. And then me saying, we're all living happily and we all love each other and we're all sharing. Multiculturalism is literally, this is it, a group of people being able to occupy a singular space or one space and voluntarily exchange their culture if they want to. And the antithesis of multiculturalism, come here. What? The antithesis of multiculturalism is social cohesion. And social cohesion is a very white, and this is why I said at the beginning of the live, if you have white supremacists agreeing with you, it is not because they are agreeing with your talking points. It is because you are agreeing with their talking points. It's like you are agreeing with their talking points. The opposite of multiculturalism, the antithesis is, if you are multiculturalism, you must be pro-social cohesion. Social cohesion is the belief that groups must stay separate because they cannot get along together. It is fundamentally a racist belief and a very anti-black belief, a very white supremacist belief, and a very much a belief that has been proven time and time again, over and over. I think nearly like 22 times now by 22 credible people and studies to be true. Like, it's not true. Social cohesion, like, it does not work. Saying it is an inherently reactionary movement that you will not be able to maintain. And this is why I'm saying, like, reactionaryism is not always bad. But you not being able to maintain that state means that if you want to maintain your ethno-state or your separatist state, You must get a monopoly on violence. You must become inherently authoritarian. And congratulations, you have black fascism. Are you very proud of yourself now that you have black fascism? And guess what? Get this. Separatism, and even though some reinforcement of the structure of race is required to escape it, very much vastly reinforces the structure of race. How are you going to be a race abolitionist? And I have already established that to be a black liberationist, you must be a race abolitionist, because race abolition is the only thing that will abolish anti-blackness. And then your end goal is a black ethno-state, if that's your end goal. Is a black ethno-state, if that's your end goal. I really don't care if that's like your middle point to get to the end goal, but if that is your end goal, you're just a fascist. Like, I'm tired of beating around the block just because y'all are niggas. Like, I really don't care. This is a fucking app. Like why? I don't understand why. I'm gonna start calling names, and I really need to calm down. So I'm gonna go get fucking high after this. But I'm really about to start calling fucking names because like, and this is also something I hate. Stop speaking with fucking confidence when you're fucking dumb. And this is not Eli, because a lot of the fucking black nationalists I see on here are idiots. And I've already started in my comment section. If I discern you're an idiot, I say something and you look over it with ignorance, I'm telling you like you're a fucking kindergartner to go read. And if you can't come back to me and tell me what you've read, we're not talking. The fuck, like, it really doesn't make sense. And also, how are you going to be anti-multiculturalism when multiculturalism created black culture? You know that your black culture, like, it is a result of the Atlantic slave trade, right? You know that African American culture is the result of a congregate of slaves from different cultures, because guess what? Not all slaves, because an idiot in my comment section, not all slaves are A, from West Africa, not all of them, and B, definitely not all of them have the same culture, which is why when we see different states where certain majorities of an ethnicity were traded, we see that we have the evolvement of different languages, the evolvement of different dialectic. We have things such as hoodoo. We have things such as synthesized Santeria and voodoo originating in Louisiana. We have like I said, hoodoo in the South. Where do you think that came from? I really need you to leave this whole Western-centric view. And I was born in America. So this is a critique of me as a first-gen American of other African Americans. And I'm not, my ancestors were slaves, correct, but they weren't from, America. They were from the Caribbean. But that's literally my point. Like the black culture, which you are trying to defend from multiculturalism, was created by mass cultural exchange between slaves. How do you think AAVE is existed? And I wouldn't even say that us speaking a dialect of English, that is multiculturalism, because that is forced assimilation. And if it is forced assimilation, it is not multiculturalism. Are you African too? I'm not African. I'm Bahamian. I'm Bahamian and Trinidadian. I live in the Bahamas right now. And this is why I say, like, going to a different black country, you realize, and I understand because it's the only place they've ever known, but African Americans tend to think that they are the center of everything. This is kind of the problem that I started having with Afro-pessimism, is I noticed that it was insanely Western-centric. Now, an overwhelming amount of its analysis are true, because through the Atlantic slave trade in the West, every single black person was affected, and we all became socially dead from that, because it changed how people saw us. My little brother is watching a lot of Dr. Umar. Dr. Umar is a reactionary and only in it for the money. Complete hindrance to black liberation. So, like, that's really, like, my only thing. Like,